Hey, Dave.
Yes, sir.
Academy Sports.
Rigs and techniques.
Rigs and techniques at the CCA workbench.
Yes, sir.
We're going to talk about some redfish.
Yeah, man. You know, redfish are a great fish to pursue in Texas. A lot of guys chase them. The really good thing about them is, you know, you can fish with them with bass gear. You know, you don't have to go out and buy any special stuff. You know, they run from, 1 to 5.5, 10 pounds inshore. Sometimes you get a little bigger ones when you go off into the ocean. But they're just a really great fish to pursue. They eat a lot of different things, and they eat a lot of them. So,
right.
You know, they grow really quickly. You know, by the time he's a year old, you know, he's 11 inches long, probably weighs about a pound. When he's 2 years old, he's 17 to 22 inches. And when he's 3 years old, he's 22 to 24 inches long. Probably weighs about 6 to 8 pounds. So he's growing real fast. That means he's eating a lot of stuff. You know, in the fall and the wintertime is probably the best time to catch them in Texas. You can catch them all year round, starting in the spring. But in the fall is when the really big bull reds come up onto the beach and around the jetties and stuff.
That's fun.
And the way they catch those is a lot different than the way you catch them inshore. For those big old redfish, you'll use a big chunk of cut mullet or something.
That's probably the favorite thing.
Yep. Yeah, big chunk of ladyfish or something on a giant hook like you'd use to catch a red snapper or something offshore, you know, because you're catching, 20, 30 pound fish and you're using big stuff. But primarily when we're inshore, sight cast into these things, we're trying to use things that are a little bit smaller and are matched to the size of whatever they're eating. You know, certain times of year they're eating a lot of fish. You know, so we'll reach in, and try to get us a twitch bait, something that matches the hatch that they're fishing, a little pilchard or whatever the mullet is, whatever the little fish is that they're eating. And sometimes, they'll eat it on the bottom, or when it's underneath the surface, and sometimes they'll eat it on the top. But you can use a soft bait like this one, or a hard bait like you had before. But the soft baits are really great if you're really worried about a presentation. You have to get real close to the fish.
This is so versatile. I mean, you can rig it on a jig head, you can rig it on a weighted hook or weightless like this on the surface. I catch so many redfish on this kind of rig. I mean, this is as simple as it gets. You cast it out and reel it in.
Right.
And they love it.
Yeah, that's a deep south too. They're really popular in Texas, and they really work wherever I've ever thrown one, actually. That's a bass assassin. Again, it's got a swim hook on it. It's weighted so you can throw it a little further, and it'll swim a little better because it has a lot of weight action to it. You're fighting against the weight, which makes the thing react, which makes it even, dance even a little bit more.
It looks like a lot of different things, too.
It does. It can be a shrimp to that thing, or it can be a little bait or whatever. My favorite thing to do is use topwater plugs. I mean, I might not catch as many as another fella, but I like to watch them eat a topwater plug. And when we're throwing a topwater, a lot of guys will get into the thing where they only work in the middle, early in the morning or late at night. It's not true. I've caught redfish
you can catch them all day
on topwater plugs.
You got to commit to throwing it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I like to use a smaller topwater plug. These big ones will work, and they catch a lot of trout and redfish. But a redfish, because his jaw is underneath, he has to come up and lift his whole head out of the water to get a good bite on a topwater plug. As I've got it burned in my memory, many a fish coming up and watching him eat that topwater plug. But because he has to come out, because his mouth is underneath like that, when you use a big, buoyant, large profile plug,
pushes it out
he'll
of the way.
Push it out of the way a lot of time and miss it. That's why I like the.
You were talking about this being one of your favorites.
That's why I like the chug bug.
I like this too.
I say it all the time, but the chug bug's very small and it's pencil shaped, so when he comes up to eat it, he pretty much swallows it without pushing it out of the way. Also, the Skitter V is another one.
Yeah, I caught a couple fish on this morning. This is a great
The Rapala Skitter V is excellent as well. And anything that looks like a mullet, the DOA Bait Buster catches a ton of redfish. And anything that looks like a little fish, that you can get around those fish when they're on oyster bars or where there's some current. If you see pelicans or birds working bait, you go there and you fish around those edges of that bait, because you're going to catch something. It's either going to be a big trout or a big redfish are going to be the ones harassing that school. It could even be shrimp. If they got a bunch of shrimp around, the birds will come to the shrimp too. So if you can see what they're eating, you got to try to match it. And like the fellow said before, this thing crushes them
super
everywhere
easy
they
and,
go.
Yeah, rig a little shrimp or anything underneath this a couple feet down, and that noise. That's
the pop and cork. How close do you have to be? Do you get real close or?
Yeah, real close.
Real close.
Yeah.
They still come for it.
They eat the cork sometimes. Thanks, Dave. That's a lot of good information.
Go catch you a redfish, man. They're a lot of fun.